Mark Rogers TV with instant analysis of USC's win over Arizona 49-35. Just have a few thoughts here in this environment that has been created due to the college football playoff, which is a good thing. That the BCS was very flawed. The college football playoff format with 4 teams and 4 conferences at most, Notre Dame's in play, representing 5 conferences, 4 spots. It's a very flawed system. We've detailed what could be a much better system in the past, and we will do that again this offseason. But the reason I bring that up is it takes away from games like USC and Arizona. These 2 teams were playing for the South Division lead in the Pac-12. The winner of this game most likely moving on to the Pac-12 championship game to win one of the 5 major conferences in college football. Say what you will about Pac-12 conference play this year. It's been better in the past. It's not been stellar. Many of the out-of-conference efforts have not been good. Stanford, San Diego State, USC, Notre Dame, etc. But this is for a conference championship. It should not be diminished in any way. And I think the college football playoff has ruined the value, the importance, the prestige in winning a conference championship, and that's very unfortunate. So in this game, for much of the game, certainly in the first half and going into the third quarter, once USC took what we thought was a commanding 28-6 lead, it appeared to be a situation in which, yes, let's pat Arizona on the back. They've done a nice job defeating the Arizonas or the Colorados and Utahs of the world to get to this position at 6-2 in the conference, 4-1 in conference play. But it's big bad USC, and even though they are a bit off their game, and even though they are disappointing this season and won't come close to reaching a college football playoff appearance, and that was the expectation, it's still USC, and they're much more talented. That's what it looked like. And that's basically what resulted finally in this game, is that USC's 4- and 5-star players are better than Arizona's 2- and 3-star players across the board. And that was the difference in the game. USC's offensive line was much too dominant for Arizona's smallish lineup. Just a small front for Arizona. They were pushed all over the field. Ronald Jones had almost 200 yards rushing. I don't know why he isn't talked about more across college football. He plays for USC. He's played in winning situations. He played in the Rose Bowl, had a good game against Penn State last year. He's played in Pac-12 championship games. He's one of the best backs in college football, and I have just loved watching the guy since he stepped on the field as a freshman. All right, again, it was 28-6 USC. Arizona came into the game having ripped off 36 plays of more than 30 yards this season, much of that the work of Khalil Tate. But through more than a half, they had no such explosive plays against USC. Well, that changed. Khalil Tate, who looked completely overmatched most of this game, got it working. They started running some different plays for him, some of the plays that they've run in the big wins against Washington State and the other teams I just mentioned. 58 points against Washington State, who beat USC, Washington State, who beat Stanford and held the Cardinal to 21 points today. So Arizona has beaten some pretty decent teams during this run. Khalil Tate went off. He ran for over 150 yards. He started to run some sweeps that were designed for him and some of the option reads that he had up the middle as well. He ran from the pocket when he was throwing. No, he's not a polished passer. He's just a freshman. So he made some really bad throws in this game, but bad throws in consideration that mostly he took care of the football, and he's done that extremely well as we check the numbers from this particular game. Considering his youth, it's pretty astonishing how well he has taken care of the football. He's got 3 interceptions coming into the game, and one of them was back when he was a non-starter during garbage time. Khalil Tate on this game, he did throw the 2 interceptions late in the game, 14 of 31 for $146 through the air, and he ran for 161 yards and a touchdown. Sam Darnold was pretty amazing in this game. Again, the Arizona defense is much improved, but nothing close to some of the better defenses, even in the Pac-12, a la Washington and Stanford in particular. But Sam Darnold, 20 of 26 for 311, much maligned because of the interceptions and not leading his team to the heights that were expected of him. No, he's not going to win a Heisman Trophy, and this may be the end of his college football career, depending on what he decides going into the NFL draft. But let's savor if he only has 3 or 4 more games left at USC, because he is a pretty special talent. So is Ronald Jones. We just mentioned what he did in his efforts of 194 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. Tyler Vaughn's led the Trojans in receiving, 4 catches and a touchdown, as well as Sam Darnold for throwing for 311 yards, really spread the ball around. Keep in mind that USC was without its best cover corner in Amon Marshall, also missing arguably its best linebacker in Porter Gustin, and its nose tackle, its best nose tackle, only nose tackle on the field, but best defensive tackle in Josh Fatu. Banged up Trojans defeat Arizona 49-35. They've taken control of the Pac-12 South Division. They just need to win one more game in conference. And actually not having a bye week may be going to work out for USC, as they would have the bye week prior to the Pac-12 championship game and resting up for the likes of most likely Washington, also Washington State and Stanford still in play in the North Division. So USC's got a game against Colorado on the road. Buffs possibly the worst team in the Pac-12. Then, of course, they will finish up with UCLA. And for Arizona, Wildcats at 4-2, they could really finish up with a strong season here. Consider they're 6-3 overall right now. Broke into the college football playoff rankings at 22 last week. Will probably be ousted this week. But they've got a light touch to finish off the season in Oregon State, Oregon, and Arizona State. So the Wildcats could finish with a nice 9-3 record if they hold serve and win what they're going to be favored in these 2 games. The Beavers and the Ducks are awful. Oregon lost 38-3 to Washington today, even though they threw 11 passes in losing by 35 points. Makes no sense. Arizona State is going to be a difficult game for the Wildcats. You would think on the road, Territorial Cup and the big rivalry there. And Arizona State has been very hot and cold this season. Arizona, Khalil Tate would like to hear your comments. We featured him in a number of video segments last week with Shireen Ryan of Zona Zealots. And also, of course, we cover USC on an extensive basis as well. Check out the videos there and our dedicated USC channel. So all of our USC posts, if you don't want to weed through all the other stuff that we post on Mark Rogers TV, go to Mark Rogers TV USC. All the USC stuff, including this instant analysis, will go to the USC dedicated channel. All right, I'm ready to go to bed. I've had a long day of college football. It's been great. The most important day to date, and we will sort it out with the top 25 and our thoughts about the weekend tomorrow. Love to get your comments, your suggestions, your questions as well. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel for the very best in college football coverage. We will see you next time.